Welcome to Business on the Vine. I'm your host, Lady Jen Du Plessis, and in this dynamic series, we dive into the challenges, breakthroughs, and victories of entrepreneurs who have turned their passion into success. Welcome. Hey everyone, it's Lady Jen Du Plessis with another Jen's Dots. I'm going to spend a little bit of time with this today. It might take me a few minutes here, but because normally, and by the way, thank you for joining me. Normally in Jen's Dots, I give you just kind of some pointers and things like that, but I want to spend a little more time on the subject that I want to talk about today, which is 3 stages of the referable client journey. And a colleague of mine was on this show a couple of weeks ago. I don't know when she's being released, but her name is Stacey Randall. And, she said she and I both do a lot of coaching. Well, she does only coaching on referrals and networking, but referrals and networking are a big part of my coaching program, where I, firmly, wholeheartedly, even to this very moment, and looking back on my 35-year career in lending, which was 10 years ago, right? Which is 10 years ago. I've now, I have continued to deploy these same strategies that I'm going to be talking to you about today, because I think they are so important, even in today's environment. So we hear a lot about AI, right? I love AI, and I don't have to think. I love it. Answers all my questions. I can't even tell you the last time I went to Google to ask for anything, unless it's something really quick. I use ChatGPT for pretty much everything. But this artificial intelligence, and I know, of course, out in the marketplace, everyone's worried about jobs being replaced. That layoffs won't come back again because somehow it'll be replaced by AI. But I have news for you. I just did a search on this, and I probably don't have my statistics right, but I remember a lot of numbers, but I don't remember them exactly. But 78% of businesses are using AI in some way, shape, or form. Most are using it for marketing. Some are using it for operations. And I think it's wonderful. I love it. I know, I have 5 AI agents that do jobs. I have Ava, who's my assistant. I have Billy, who's a salesperson. I have 5 different AI. Someone else does my blogs. They all have names. By the way, my chat GPT is called Gigi because my mom's name was Ginger, and she was, Virginia, but it was Ginger, and her grandma nickname was Grandma Gigi. So we call Chat GPT Gigi. What does Gigi have to say about this? I'm sure you've all named yours as well. You're probably wondering, should I listen to this podcast today? I promise you it's worth it. But so anyway, so Stacey does, she really focuses on that. I chose to focus on business growth and scaling. And of course, networking is part of it. Of course, sales is part of it. Systems are part of it. But I took a more global approach to this because I'm more excited about building teams, management, and leadership, right? And how all of these pieces come into play. But after speaking with her, I realized that, and I've said this before too, is I've realized that my entire practice, I built a business. So as you're listening to this, if you're not familiar with how mortgages work, but I funded or closed $100 million or more per year. So if if your loan amount is 100,000, I had to do 1,000 of those, right? So understanding that's the volume that we were doing, but that entire practice was built on 22 firm referral partners. Lots of little, drips and drabs of people that come and go. Someone would give me one referral and I'd never hear from them again. Someone, would give me referrals for a couple of years and maybe they retire or, move on or whatever the case may be. But 22 people is what I focused on. I don't need 1,000 people. I don't need 1 million. I don't need any number of like that to create a massive business. And, if you've been listening to this podcast for a while, you know that I generated over $400 million in revenue from my career and continue to do the same thing I'm going to be telling you today. which is the importance of this combination of mindset plus mechanics equals momentum. You've probably heard me say that before. Mindset plus mechanics equals momentum. Mechanics does not create momentum. It creates burnout. If all you're doing is focusing on doing the thing, going to the networking event, and leading the networking event, and then not doing any follow through, getting a client into your sales, and then not emotionally attaching yourself with them, and you're just doing customer service and not client experience, which is something I've done for years and years. I call it CX. In fact, it's called CX. It came out several years ago that it was called CX, customer experience, because it's the way that the client feels having worked with you that propels them and compels them to create a revolving door of referrals for you. And that's how I built my business, through my referral partners. So why do I tell you about AI and then talk about this? Because I call AI actual interaction. Actual interaction. And in business today, we need to have a nice, I don't even say balance, I don't like the word balance, but a combination, knowing when to have mindset, right? To have the emotional attachment to a client and serving them, and when to have the mechanical attachment, which is what AI does, the artificial intelligence. It does your emails, it sends, canned campaigns out and follow through and etc. But the actual interaction and the artificial intelligence is mindset plus mechanic, and it creates momentum. And I'm 1000% true. How do I say this? I'm 1000% sure about this because I was able to create a massive business and still have a very, very successful business now. Now I'm at a point now where I'm choosing not to serve everybody and anybody. I'm serving a handful of people, more than a handful, but I'm serving a smaller amount of people at a very, very high level. And that's by choice. I'm choosing to do that, right? So as you step into 2026, because this is when I'm doing this now, is in October. And by the way, I'm a firm believer that your business plan should already be done. It starts October 1st. Because the activities, your future is a series of nows. The activities that you're doing now will give you the results that you'll have day 1 of January of 2026. Most people put a plan together and they start doing things January 1st and they see results in March, which is why they have a hard time reaching their goals. Is that making sense? Yes, I hope you're with me on that. Say yes, not in the car. As you're working out, say yes. I'm just a firm believer of. But as you're putting this together, now is the time for you to do a hybrid or a combination of artificial intelligence, the AI we know, Chat GPT, and the actual interaction, the human part of what you're doing, and pulling them together so that you can create a business that is sustainable. And you know that this is what I coach on: elite business success, a sustainable business that runs without you and the intervention and being involved in the daily chaos. Okay, so this is just one part of it. So what I'm going to teach you today is the 3 stages of the referable client journey. And this is from Stacy, but it's my take. Okay, it's my take on this. I call this your signature client experience. This is what I always call it, is your signature client experience. Okay. So there are 3 stages of this. One is, so write all this down. One is the new client. The moment they say yes, what happens? The moment they say yes. The second is your active client, or your in-process client, or your working together client, however you want to call that. Okay. But the second stage is now you're actually doing the work that you're getting paid for. It's your active client. And the third is your alumni client. Now, here's something really funny. This is why I love Stacy so much. Oh my God. Because she loves systems. She loves referrals, right? And believes strongly in creating relationships. I call it building deeper, richer, which it could be money and heartfelt, right? Deeper, richer relationships. But she, for I can't tell you how many years, maybe 20, if I go back 10 and 15, maybe 25 years, that I have been calling closed business clients alumni clients. I don't call them my past clients. I don't call them my old clients. I call them my alumni clients, because what do alumni clients do? They tell everybody, alumni at your university, your college, you know, or your high school. Alumni tell everybody about it. You have to go to that school. You have to go. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. You have to go. I loved it. You need to go. You need to try it. Alumni do this. And they send money, right? They either donate or they send people, right? So in your case with business, they're either coming back for more opportunities with you, or they're sending their friends, right? So they're alumni client. Think of it as an infinity sign, you know, instead of an end-to-end process, we're talking about an infinity sign. Where people come in and they stay in and they come back in and they send more people in, right? It's a constant flow. So your alumni are number 3. So let me repeat that again. These 3 stages of customer experience, your signature client experience that combines mindset plus mechanics so that you can create momentum in your business, combines artificial intelligence and actual interaction, right? Are a new client, brand new. They said, yes, now what? An active client where you're doing the work, and an alumni client. So those are the 3 stages, okay? In our process, we have over 71 touch points for our in-process clients, our active clients. We have over 71 touch points. Now, I should say that that's probably inclusive of the new client, because I look at that piece of it as well. So I'll say new client and active client, 71 touch points. Now, some of those touch points are mechanics, right? Notifying them of the next step that, you know, maybe if you're a doctor, labs went out and labs are coming back. Here are your labs. So those are the mechanics of this. But what are you doing to evoke emotion so that your client feels that they made a great decision to work with you? And they can't wait to stay working with you, and they can't wait to work with you again. So the focus with a new client, they just said yes. The focus with a new client is to exude confidence and clarity. And let me get clear on what this means. Your confidence that you can help them get the results that they've paid you for, or that they will be paying you for. Your confidence, your competency, right? Not arrogance, not cockiness, but your competency in your ability to get them the results that they have just paid you for or will pay you for once you get the results. But also their confidence in the decision that they've made. Our focus needs to be that they don't have buyer's remorse, that they don't ask for a refund because they're like, oh, I was so excited, but I didn't. I didn't want to buy, or I wanted to just get my money back. I'm not sure I want to do this. And if that's happening to you, if you're having that fallout right after it becomes a new client, right? Or that a conversion fallout, right? You're having that, it's because you haven't shared your confidence in being able to get them the results, but you also haven't expressed, right, and shared with them and connected with them so that they're confident in their decision. They're confident in their decision. So don't let them walk away. Don't collect their money and let them walk away. Engage as fast as you can. And then clarity of what the next steps are. You know how it goes. You've been doing this a long time. You know every step. They don't. You know, my daughter used to say all the time, you know, she was for a while, she was doing a day of wedding planning. And she said to the brides all the time, nobody knows how this is going to go. So if it doesn't go exactly the way that we have it written down, Don't worry. No one's going to know. Right. And I agree with that in business because you know exactly how it's going to go. They don't know. But if you don't share with them the steps and have a concrete system for every single time the way that things are going to go, you're not sharing with them and they feel like they're left in the dark and they don't have that clarity, their confidence will go. We used to call it a love-o-meter, right? They love you when they say yes. Oh, I love you, I love you, I love you. But the love-o-meter still starts dropping down because you're not communicating. You're not clear. They don't know. They're wondering, do I have to call? Do they call? What happens? So keep that love-o-meter high with those new clients. That's what your focus is on sharing the confidence that you have, encouraging them that the decision that they made is really good. So they're confident it was a strong decision, and then clarifying what the next steps are. So what would be a touch point? Because we're talking about, you already know the mechanics. Let's talk about the mindset piece. What would be the touch point that would make them go, oh, I love them. I want to stay with them. I'm happy I made the decision. I feel good about it, right? What would be a touch point? So a touch point could be a welcome call, more than just, it could be a welcome group call. It could be a welcome, let me rephrase that. It could be a welcome group call where you have a group of clients that you're welcoming and you're having a welcoming party and you're sharing. So let's go back through this again. Here's what's going to happen. Let's get these dates on the calendar. Let's make sure we're following through. What's your responsibility? What are mine? A client of mine, a colleague of mine has a saying. She says, expectations, well, I'm paraphrasing, expectations without agreement creates blank. Expectations that your client has and expectations you have, if you're not in agreement with them, it will create frustration, anger, lack of clarity, right? Lack of confidence, resentment. It could create a whole mess of things. So we have to make sure that the expectations, the steps that we're going to be taking, that everyone is clear about it. So bringing a group of people in is fantastic. Or if you're working one-to-one, having that welcome call with just you is great. Or having the welcome call with your team on a Zoom with your clients, saying, hey, I just wanted to bring the team in so you can put a name with a face and hear their voice, and then they can leave and then they can talk, or they talk about their portion. But come up with something that makes your client feel so special. It's still part of your mechanical process, but your client feels so special. And they know what's going to happen. They get off the phone, they go, oh, I'm so glad they called because now I know what's going to happen next. So what's one thing you could do today to change the emotional impact of your client who says yes today, or the one who said yes yesterday, and you're listening to this today and saying, oh, I better call them, right? What's one thing you could do? You could do a welcome call. You could do a welcome video. You could send a welcome email, which is a little less emotional. Could you send a gift? Yes. You could send, hey, welcome. We always send a gift. I'm always going to say it might be effective. I'm sorry, it might be efficient for you to send a gift and not have to have an onboarding call. But is it as effective as having an onboarding call? And therefore, is it efficient? Because if now the people decide they're not going to work with you, then it wasn't efficient at all. Let me rephrase all that. Right? Everything needs to be both effective and efficient. If it's efficient for you, is it effective for the client? Because it has to be. If it's effective for the client, but not efficient for you, find better ways. That might be where you kind of interject some AI, right? So that's number one. Take one action, make it a habit. Then you can add other actions, but right now take one action. All right, so number two, active client. This is someone who is in the throes. You're doing the work, you're doing the thing, right? You're doing the thing for them. The focus here needs to be connection and consistency, right? Connection and consistency. So you need to be communicating with them. And by the way, I didn't say the word communicate, right? Because communicate is the mechanics. Hey, this happened. You're going to get another email. Here's another email. Hey, go look at this portal. Hey, check this. That is communication. That's customer service. I'm talking about a customer experience. So it's connection. What could you do during that process, during your sales process, to make them feel warm and fuzzy, to make them feel like they're being heard? They're not just being pushed, information's being pushed out. Great, that's AI, but that's artificial intelligence, but actual interaction. What else could you layer on top of that? And not just once, but several times. The consistency is important for referrals, period, end of story. If you are consistent and your client loves you and tells their friend, yeah, you're going to have this onboarding call, and then they're going to talk to you during the middle of it and make you feel really good, you're going to love it. And that client comes to you and you don't have the system in place to make it consistent, they're going to go back to their friend and say, I don't know what kind of experience you got. It sounds like it was lovely and wonderful, and you know, birds were singing and all that. But when I went there, it was a mess, and I'll never refer anybody and I'll never work with them again. What has that done to the original referral person? It's made them say, I'm not referring anymore. I'm done. I'm done referring. They made my reputation look bad. This is why consistency is paramount, why you have to have a system so that every client goes through the mechanics. And at the same time, every client goes through some touch points for emotional connection. And even though the connection is the same in this sense, for example, one of the things that I did, so what would this be, right? One of the things that I did was a midpoint checkup, right? I would call and say, hey, the only reason I'm calling is because I want to know what's keeping you up at night. Is there anything in what we're doing? Is it frustrating you? Is there anything that's happening? Are we not responding? Has someone been rude? Did we not follow through when we said we would? And I didn't ask all these questions. I just said, what can we help you with? We're halfway through this process. What can we do to make it even better for you? What's keeping you up at night? What are you struggling with? What do you need help with? Now, when I was back in the mortgage business, it was interesting because I remember this one client said, well, I can't get a mover because everybody's moving on the same date that I am, and I can't find a mover. And I said, not to worry, because I've got referral partners, right? I've got people surrounding me. Like, oh, it's just like a warm, fuzzy surrounding. It's like stuffing around yourself, you know, that you've got all these wonderful people that are, I'm getting goosebumps, these wonderful people that are there to help you in your business because you're helping their business. So I said, don't worry, let me make a phone call. And I called my moving person, one of my best referral partners, and said, hey, I know everybody's busy. I know there aren't any trucks or anything. Is there anything you could do? Anything? And he said, I got your back. I'm going to get a truck pulled in from another town for your client. And I said, oh my gosh, that's wonderful. And they're so stressed out. I know I hate asking this because it's a supply and demand, right? Is there any way you could do me a little favor and discount it for them so that when I call them and say, I got you taken care of and I got you a discount? Absolutely. Absolutely, Jen, for you, anything, right? Those are the kind of relationships you want to have. And my client, there was an emotional attachment. For me, it was mechanical. This is the point where I need to call them and ask them what's going on. But the result was mindset and emotion, because every person's going to have a different thing that's keeping them up at night, if that's what your question is, right? But everyone's going to have something different, saying, you know, hey, do you have any questions during the process, or any loopholes, or any areas that you're not too sure of, or any questions anything we can clarify. So connection and consistency at making that phone call or that reach out is key. So here's your action item for number 2. What's one thing you could do during the work that you're doing, during that entire process? One thing that you could do that would exude more emotion. for that client. Maybe it's a thank you card that says, we just want to thank you. You're such a great client. I wish everybody was like you, right? Maybe that's an email. Maybe that's a video. I don't know what it's going to be. And I know you. Listen, you're going to go to AI and say, hey, what would be a good thing for me to do? And AI says, hey, send a gift. Maybe, but let's go back. Is it efficient and is it effective? Because we want connection, real human, actual interaction, as opposed to here's a gift. I'm not saying gifts aren't good. I'm saying right now, what I'm teaching you in this podcast specifically is to pick up the phone and talk to people. Pick up the phone and communicate. And don't rely on an email, a post, a text, right? A gift. Don't rely on those things just for this training. Once this becomes a habit and you have this one emotional piece in all three of these pieces, then you can add those other things, okay? Then you can add those. All right, so number three is your alumni, right? So these are your alumni clients. So what do we focus on? We're focusing on loyalty, right? Loyalty, word of mouth, and keeping that relationship going. It's not over. It's only starting. As soon as we have gotten you, as soon as we have obtained the results for you, or you've obtained the results for yourself with our guidance through the journey, right? As soon as those results have been laid in concrete, it's not over. You don't turn your back and go back to your new client again or your prospects. You keep the relationship going. You worked super hard. In fact, there's a statistic about this that it's actually 67% of next year's business is already in your database. You have acres of diamonds right at your feet. And yet we have binoculars on all the time looking for the next best thing. And while that's good because we want new blood and new opportunities to come in, we have acres of diamonds right under our feet. We have alumni that cannot wait to tell people about us. And it makes it easier for us to get more business, easier for us to scale. So we focus on creating loyalty, making sure that they know, hey, you weren't one and done. You weren't a one night stand. I want a relationship with you. So that's where our focus is, right? So what's a touch point? It could be an annual review. And now, or an anniversary card, or a birthday card, or a client appreciation event, or something I do that's called ABC calls and ZYX videos and testimonials. I'm trying to think what else I was thinking. Thanking them for referrals if they have given you referrals, right? And we hope that they do. That's the whole idea behind this. I'm not even going to say that we hope that they do, because I promise you they will. But you've got to get emotion in here. We are moving further and further with AI, which I love. Don't get me wrong. We are moving further and further with AI from an emotional connection. And this is why we're having so much trouble, even though we've got this beautiful platform that can write emails so we don't have to sit and go, oh, what do I write? I can't remember what to write. That can help us get things done twice as fast. It's becoming more and more. I used to call, what did I used to call this? I'm trying to think of the name. I used to call it high touch, high tech. Do you remember that? If you've been in business for a long time, you remember that. I used to call it high tech, high touch. 30 years ago, I was calling it high tech, high touch. And of course, the high tech back then, I think, was probably that we could actually email. We didn't even have text then, right? We could email or fax. We were high tech, right? But that high touch needs to stay there. And I will tell you, that is a golden thread I've had throughout my entire career, and why I've achieved all the beautiful success that I have, and still have wonderful relationships with people that I have done business with that I can't serve now because I'm not in the same arena. But I still have beautiful relationships with them. And this is what you want there. So here's your action item, right? So we have a focus, we have a touch point, and we have an action item, right? Your action item is to pick one thing you could do. If you closed business last year, then you can call all of the clients that you closed business last year in the same month that you're listening. So as I'm recording this is October. So I would go back to last October. How many people did I have, new clients, closed business? How many people are celebrating an anniversary of 1 year since they've worked with me? Pick up the phone and call them. I just want to say thank you again. I love having served you, right? Or do a client appreciation, or do a happy anniversary for everybody that that has an anniversary. When you go online to Facebook, it says, and LinkedIn does it too, I think to this point, is like, hey, these people are celebrating birthday, and you go send, 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 send. That's AI. That's mechanics. Do you want to go into emotion and get you to be at the top of mind, right? Top of mind thinking. We used to call it stealing brain cells, but if you want to become top of mind again, pick up the phone. You want to become top of mind, don't do one of the canned replies, do a quick video to them, do a quick audio to them. Take that little extra step. If you've never done this, and maybe I will put this in the notes here. I'll try to remember in the notes, but if you've ever watched 212 degrees, right? At 211 degrees, water is really, really hot. At 212 degrees, it boils and it creates steam, and steam creates movement, right? It becomes the power behind movement and motion. I have a in fact, we'll put that in here too. We have a link for you to get it's called the Harmony Engine, right? The Harmony Engine. And it's all of the systems that you need to have in a business. I'm talking about one of them right now, and only doing one thing in each one of these 3 stages. But so you can see all of them, because what happens is at 212 degrees, that steam starts rising and it creates the energy behind that locomotive, that steam engine train. My husband and I just went on one last week, actually a week ago. We went on the Virginia Scenic Railway, and it's this old steam engine train. There were people on the side of the road, photographers, people chasing the train, in their cars, so they get more pictures because they only bring it out once a year. And steam engines are they're dying breed. And they're even talking about the fact that this may be the last year that this steam engine goes, but it needs a lot of force. And it needs a lot of kinetic energy, which is the name of my company, Kinetic Spark, right? It needs a lot of kinetic energy to move. When you do that one extra thing, it creates steam and it creates the energy that will move your business forward. So just do one thing for your new client, one thing for your active client, and one new thing. All of these that create emotion for your alumni, right? For all of them, just one. And then later, when it's a habit, you can create more touch points, including your team, right? Part of what we did, I'm going to give you a couple of bonus things here. So we had this policy in our office that every week on Friday, everyone in the office had to write a thank you note to someone else in the office. Right? Thank you for helping me fix the printer. Thank you for helping me finagle that, the numbers on that one deal. Thanks for fixing my computer. Thanks for making my coffee, or grabbing me a cup of coffee. Or thanks for bringing in lunch for everybody. Whatever it was, everybody had to write a gratitude note every single week to someone in the office. Someone in the office. And everyone had to write a second note to someone who helped us with our clients, including our clients. So my production partner, my right hand, she wrote a note to one of our favorite clients. We probably had done 4 or 5 different loans for them. This is way back. We had done a lot of loans. And she wrote them a thank you note. I just want to say thank you for getting all the information to us in a timely fashion. I wish everybody was like you. If they were, our lives would be so much easier. We so appreciate you. And she sent it to my client. Well, my client invited her to a Christmas party. I didn't get invited, right? But I didn't care because it's a group effort. And she went to the Christmas party and she met other people, and that brought more business to us, our team. The ego's not there. I can't imagine, the CEO of Starbucks having an ego that says, because one of the baristas, is that what they call them? Whatever, one of the people who make your coffee, because they're so nice, more people came in. He doesn't care. He's saying, be nice, so more people come in. We all win. All of us win. But writing a note, I would write notes to insurance companies. Thank you so much for going above and beyond and getting us the insurance policy so that we could close. Or to someone else in a different department with our company. Hey, I just want to say thanks for going above and beyond. So we had a gratitude thank you note internally for our team in our office, and then internal and external for someone who made an impact. And that one degree of doing that made all the difference in the world. I have tons of examples for that. Year after year after year after year, client after client after client, referral partner, you name it, that one degree. So I'm asking you, 1 degree for your active clients, 1 degree for your new clients. I should say that the other way. 1 degree for your new client who just said yes, 1 degree for your active clients when you're doing the mechanics and the work and getting them the results, and 1 degree for your alumni, all with an emotional attachment to it. Yeah, this is emotional intelligence, right? This is you leveling up your emotional intelligence. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Take a bunch of notes. I have a bunch of more ideas, and maybe yours will get to a 71 point system that probably I would say out of that, probably 58 of them were mechanics and the rest were emotional, and it created $100 million a year in closed loan volume. And over the course of my career, $400 million in revenue. And if that's what you're looking to do, if you're looking to make that kind of impact and make that kind of significance and serve your clients at a higher level and not get lost in AI, but get renewed with AI, right? And combine the two and know when to have the mechanics and when to have the mindset so that you can create momentum in your business, then you want to listen to this again and you want to take a bunch of notes. Also, in the notes below, we have free masterclasses every month. We have masterclasses specifically for mortgage lenders called Mortgage Mastery Masterclass, where we talk about this and other things. It's free. So look for the link there. You can sign up anytime. Bring other people. It's so much fun to learn together. We have Hustle to Harm Money for business owners, high-end, savvy, really successful business owners or teams, right? If you're a team, let's say, for example, you're a realtor, a loan officer, or any other kind of business, right? But you have a team or you have a company and you're like, I'm done doing all this hard work. I need to figure out a way. Well, let's get you out of hustle and let's get you into harm money, right? Not only the peace and joy and freedom, but the money that comes along with it. And then last but not least, we have another masterclass called Podcast Guest Profits. And in this masterclass, we share with you all of the skills and tools that are needed to be an expert podcast guest if you're trying to get more exposure and you're trying to grow your business. And of course, all of those lead into different coaching programs that we do. So, now's the time. Now's the time to get in. If you've enjoyed this, I've enjoyed sharing it. This is something I'm passionate about all of this. It's amazing. How can you be so passionate in so many different areas? It's amazing. I just love it. But I appreciate you listening. Hop on over to YouTube. Be sure to subscribe because you'll see the playlist for all 3 of my podcasts, plus another TV YouTube show called Beyond the Podcast, where I interview people that where are they a year from now? I want to know what's going on a year. See, I'm keeping those relationships alive. And then there's also my TV show is there, Business on the Vine. We have the TV show there as well. So, and lots of trainings like this. You'll find this up there as well. So we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for joining. Thank you for joining us on Business on the Vine. If you found value in today's conversation and would like additional support, go to supportfromjen.com. Remember, the best ideas are always discovered on the Vine. So keep innovating, stay inspired, and continue to grow.